Greetings, Chadron State College faculty, staff, and other team members. This is a quick tutorial video that might help you with some instructional strategies for weekly participation grades. I'm Eric over in the Education Department.
I'm Heather with the Teaching, Learning, and Professional Education Center, TLPEC.
It's a mouthful, but we got it, hopefully. And this is roughly about a 24 minute long video. I know that might sound like a lot, but the learning curve for learning potentially a new skill set or a new skill set within Canvas and trying to develop something like this is going to take a little bit of time. But I promise you we wouldn't have made this if we didn't think that the rewards far outweighed the cost of this in terms of student engagement and student learner outcomes.
So what you're going to see next is Eric talking about the teaching strategies of why this method is an impactful opportunity for you.
And then after that, Heather's going to show some of the nuts and bolts about how to put this together in Canvas. And then we'll conclude with a quick little summary. So here we go. All right, here we go. This is my part of the presentation. I'm going to try and keep it as quick and thorough as possible without opening up all the documents that I have ready to go to show you. Let's start off with constructivism. I'm very sure most educators know that the constructivism, cognitivism, behavioralisms are foundational theories in learning. Specifically, constructivism, a learner-centered instruction strategy, engages students more. Students want to engage with each other. We are social creatures, and putting students into smaller groups and having them interact with each other on a weekly basis reinforces some of these behaviors, and it's an incredibly effective way, when done correctly, to increase learner outcomes in your classrooms. If you're not familiar with constructivism, you might want to hit pause and read through some of this background information. If you are familiar with it, I'm not going to slow us down and talk too much about it, except to say when we put students into small groups and give them opportunities and guide them along the way, which is part of the weekly discussion part of it, that we present as instructors, you will get higher learner outcomes and higher engagement, and at a deeper level. That's going to be key in a moment. If you wanted to talk about some of the cognitive advantages to video communication, again, this is where it's not meant to be lecture based. If you are interested in learning about how we know these things, I will gladly tell you. I'm just going to zoom in on one of them. It's something that the pre-service teachers here at Chadron State College all learn about when they go through the technology class, that there are these design principles that we can do with multimedia content that will lower the cognitive load of our students, and if done correctly, will increase your learner outcomes, increase the depth of knowledge that your students know. Specifically, I'm just going to pause for a moment, talk about something called DOK, or depth of knowledge. Depth of knowledge 1 is like Siri, and it's just superficial information. We find in the research that effective video communications engages students more, because again, it's learner-centered based, and you find the students are able to get to that level 3 and level 4 where they're incorporating this knowledge and applying it to different areas and using strategic thinking and being able to make connections and all the things that we hope for as educators. So let me jump over to number 3 so I don't take too much time. There's some suggestions for setting up weekly conversations, and I'll demonstrate one from my Canvas course in just a second. There's the traditional weekly class where you just put everybody into one big group and they're watching each other's videos on whatever you want to set them as a prompt. And I'm not saying that's a bad way to go. I'll just say it sure is a lot of communication that they're repeatedly seeing over and over and over again. Another way to do it is to break your students into weekly groups. That's what I will demonstrate in my Canvas, and I'm pretty sure that's what Heather and the TLCP can help anybody with setting up in their Canvas shells, and how you might want to break this into midterm projects or even final projects. So what I do for my weekly groups, so all I did is zoom in to try and visually demonstrate, again, visual representation. If you had a class of 15, 16, 17, again, it all depends on your specific circumstances, you may want to break them into 3 or 4 smaller groups and have them interacting with just 2 or 3 other individuals in your class, so they're not going through so much repetitious content, because in all honesty, many of these students are referencing some of the same content, and you'll get deeper conversations that way. It's easier once you break your teams into smaller groups. Then, like if you want for midterm things, you can even break them into smaller groups beyond that, or even for finals, you can do mixed teams, all sorts of different ways once you break them into smaller teams. So all I did is I brought in my Education 224 class. I'll blur out any student names or anything, but I'm going to go to my discussions. We can see that I have a brief introduction, then I have my weekly conversations. I'm just going to go to week 9 because I know exactly what it's going to look like. I have my prompt over here that's populating. It's just shy of 6 minutes. I give them an outline of what I basically say and what I want them to discuss. And this little icon up here, when I click on it, here's my groups. Okay, so when I go to, it's very easy for me to see what my students responded to and how they're going within their teams. As I hit Team Pink, and this is where I'll probably blur some things out, it brings me right to their downloads. And all I did again is blur them out here with this editing. And if I wanted to quickly go, well, okay, I looked at their videos, or I quickly skim them, or some version of that, and now what did Team Red do? And so I can go through my groups relatively quickly and effectively by breaking students into smaller groups, and the interactions within Canvas is relatively manageable. And I'll give a demonstration of how I document this stuff for grading in just a moment. One other quick thing I'll mention that I do, but again, you don't have to, is instead of making my students all interact with some kind of artificial conversation, so this individual right here posts something in a video in week 3, I don't necessarily make this individual, and this individual respond directly to this first one. I have them each comment on what I presented in my weekly conversation to them, or my weekly prompt, and then in week 6, 11, and 15, I have, instead of a weekly conversation, I have them summarize the previous 5 weeks. And I tell them straight out, hey, you can't say everything that happened in 5 weeks worth of conversation, but this is a good skill set. You might want to be taking notes as you're watching or interacting with your teammates during these weeks. But in, again, week 6, 11, and 15, I want a 5-minute video where you're saying, hey, in weeks 3, Hal mentioned this and this that was really interesting to me, but Peter countered that with this kind of thought process, or this kind of information, or this personal knowledge, or whatever it is that they're trying to summarize. I find that those summaries provide more natural conversations within my students, because they're not trying to have an artificial conversation back and forth with somebody that they barely know, but they're presenting their own ideas each week, again, based on my prompts or the prompts of the instructor, and then in 3 specific times during the semester, they're simply asked to summarize what their group's thoughts were on the most important concepts during those conversations. So that was just something quick to think about, and that brings us to the 4th part of the conversation, like how do you grade, or what are your rules for doing weekly video conversations? I only have 2 rules for my videos, and 2 years ago I didn't have any rules, but I had a student that did his video without a shirt on, whatever. I'm just going to jump right to it. I have now a dress code policy for my online video presentations, and the dress code policy is the same as any classroom. You have to have a shirt on. I don't care if you have makeup or baseball cap on, things along those lines, but you're not going to sit down with big sunglasses on, not be able to see your eyes, shirtless. In my classroom, I'm not going to allow that on an online conversation. The only other rule I have is I ask my students, please do not drive and make a recording for your video. You can be a passenger in a car, but don't operate heavy machinery while you're trying to make the video. So that's about it. In terms of grading, I have an online rubric. Looks very similar to my face-to-face rubric. The only difference between what you're seeing here for my face-to-face and my online is that they are posting videos, and I break down my expectations for them. And you can kind of see the summary videos are clearly talked about, and it's the majority of the points. There are all different ways you could document the grading for participation grades once you have a rubric or some version of that. I make a simple grid. I break all my teams in by color. I have it week by week. I generally use my iPad. I come over here and I write right in here potentially how long maybe the video was, whether I liked it or not. I'm not going to take your valuable time and go over all that to that in an in-depth degree. So let me quickly summarize. If you're thinking about using video for weekly conversations with your students, I'd highly recommend it. It's a very constructivist method of doing instruction. It's highly engaging for students. It's learner-center based instruction. There's cognitive advantages, more in-depth learning. Yes, they might complain a little bit about making videos or uploading them. Yes, there might be a little bit more technology issues, but that is easily handled between our TLCP fantastic team members or our IT team members. It's not that difficult once students get a little bit of experience with it. And then let me finish with, and grading it isn't as difficult as you might think. There's a couple systems that you can set up to make the grading procedure go relatively quickly on your end. And so that's the end of the quick part about why you might want to use video conversations with your students within a Canvas shell.
Hello, instructors. You just watched Eric go over why video discussions is an impactful tactic for integrating in your course. My name's Heather. I work with the Teaching, Learning, and Professional Education Center, and I am going to show you how to implement this into your Canvas course shell. This is the roster of students in the course. You see that by going to the People section of your course and then click on Group Set. Create the name of the group set. You could determine if you wanted to allow self sign up for groups. Most instructors may choose to assign the groups themselves, but if they wish, they can do self sign up. And then you hit save. We have the roster here. We're going to click on group. We're going to name the group. And then we're going to hit save. And then we'll do this 2 more times so we make a total of 3 groups. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is drag and drop the names of my students into the various groups, since I opted to create the groups myself instead of allowing them to self-sign up. Now we're going to set up a discussion. You do that by clicking on the plus discussion button, titling the discussion, and then entering the directions that are required for the discussion. There are a variety of different options while setting up your discussion. You can allow it to be an anonymous reply, though most instructors find that not beneficial. You have the ability to set up grading, set whether or not it's a group discussion. And as we are going over the process of doing video discussions and we set up groups, we're going to set this one as a group discussion. Make sure that you set your discussion available from and to dates. And then click Save. So now that we have our group set up, we're going to go over how to contribute with a video discussion post. Where we're going to start, we're going to click on Reply. We're going to click on this media icon right here, and we're going to click on Upload, Record Media. So there are options of uploading or recording. We're going to click Record, and your face shows up. So we're going to click Start Recording, and it'll do a countdown. Hi class, today we have a discussion to participate in. I'd like you to record your post, and I would like you to reply to 2 other students in your group before the end of the week. Really dig into the subject, and I hope you find some insightful information about the topic. Then you click submit. And you can see if this is what you want it to be. You can preview it. I'm just going to save media. And it takes a little bit, but it's recommended that if the post is going to be under 5 minutes, that the recording for the post, it really should not be a problem to just record it through Canvas like we just showed you, and then have it upload that way. Students seem to have more difficulties if their recording is over 5 minutes. And then if it is going to be a longer post, you would want to record it, save it to a device, and then upload it, because sometimes there's an issue with timeouts when you're uploading a larger file size. And we will cover those details in another segment. Now we're going to show how a student can reply to a discussion if their recording is a longer video. If the video is over 5 minutes, it's really preferable to record the video through their device, save it to their device, and then upload it into the discussion. We have a sample video that I'm going to use for this example. So what I'm going to do, we're in the discussion. We're going to go to the media button again. We're going to go upload, record media. And then I'm going to find my file here. So what I'm going to do, I have, and as you can see, this is an 11-minute video. So when you're recording straight in Canvas, it's not saved on your computer. So it's one of those things where if it errors out, the student may have to record the video again. This is just an opportunity for those longer files that may have upload issues to be saved on the computer so that it can then just be uploaded as time allows. And we're going to click submit. And this may take a while, or it may be uploaded quickly. It really depends on the file size, the internet connection that the user has, and a little bit of patience. This one loaded fairly quickly. Says your media has been uploaded and will appear here after processing. And there's our video. And the same process would happen if a student wanted to reply. Click on reply. The rich content editor comes here. They could either upload or record again, same process. Well, as you can see here, there are quite a few supported video formats that are able to be used within Canvas when submitting videos for discussions, though the preferred format is the MP4. While creating your video, please remember to save your video quality size at the 720p level. This just helps to ensure an acceptable video quality level while still being small enough to not cause issues uploading your video into Canvas.
Thank you, Heather. That was great. You just engaged with almost 19 minutes worth of content to try to describe not only reasons why you might want to incorporate this into your future classrooms. Many of our students are already aware of doing weekly participations using video like this because there are enough team members on campus that are already incorporated things like this through Flip or Teams or, as we just demonstrated, Canvas. Just a couple precautions I'm just going to remind you. Uploading speeds, internet connections, cellular connections, that can all befuddle students. You might want to have a conversation in your classes or send them specific emails or however you want to communicate with them. Have some patience with your videos.
The next project you'll see coming from us is a video that is designed for students that goes over this process in their eyes.
And we'll give them the same warnings that you just got. Hopefully all these come out to us before the school year begins, and hope everybody's having a good time this summer. Later.